Hey guys, we are really excited because we've just started getting the logistics and getting everything figured out to where we are going to be doing a podcast and a YouTube channel. So this is really exciting for us because this is like our first actual legit podcast.
After many other recordings and attempts and different things, but we decided we're just going to do it because one of the number one things you hear from everybody is just do it, just take action. It's one of our own messages that we put out. And we've been able to help so many people in so many ways. And this is a way that we can just get it out to people.
And it's so interesting because a lot of the times we find ourselves trying to be so perfect and make the podcast exactly how we want it and make sure that we're editing it all perfect. And we just keep coming back to it's better to do it poorly than to not do it at all, to take that action. Because we see maybe a while back when we were planning this, we were really excited to do it, but then we haven't been getting around to it or doing it because we're getting caught up in making it so perfect and making it exactly how we want and all of those logistics. And so to just sit here and to just say, let's just do it however it is and not being perfect is really just empowering to us.
And how many times in your life have you had something that you wanted to get done or get going and you just kept overemphasizing all the little details and hyper-focusing on all the little parts and pieces to make it just right. And part of you is like, well, I don't want to do it unless it's all 100% that there's a point at which you're never going to get to that, for one.
Yeah.
But probably more importantly, it's just, number two is that taking the action and moving forward is often the most powerful thing you can do to gather the next piece of information that will help you to do it even better. So this is our what do you call it when you first launch? It's our attempt. It's our maiden voyage. It's in beta.
And it's so interesting to be able to see ourselves and analyze ourselves after of when we have done that in the past and we're like, you know what, let's just do this. I mean, we made a 30-day program and we weren't perfect at maybe the way that we were presenting together and whatever, but we decided to do it anyway. We decided to just go ahead and start making that 30-day program. And we look back now and we're like, okay, we could have done a lot better. This, and this could have been way better. And now we can fix it and whatever. But seeing that we did it and that we got it done and seeing all the benefits that we got from that, everything that we learned and how much better we are at doing those kind of videos and making those programs and seeing that we're so grateful that we just took action. We just did it even though it wasn't perfect and wonderful and great. But seeing that if we hadn't have done it that way, we don't know how we would have came to the same conclusions and the same ideas and being able to progress in the way that we wanted.
As a matter of fact, the message we're sharing right now, to think back of your life and to see what things that you're not moving forward on because you're too overthinking, that message right there literally just came to us as we started. It is not on our list of things to share, but it's such a huge learning breakthrough of and understanding in ourselves that applies in so many different areas of life. Where it's just go, just take action, just do something. If you're not sure about it, you're not clear, and it's not you know what? Get clarity through the attempt to go. And one of the things in neuroscience that we've learned and that we teach people is that there's neurochemicals that participate when you believe in trying, when you believe in making an attempt. Not just believe in it, but value it at a high level. That so much so that it's almost more important to you than the accomplishment of the thing that you're trying to make. That it's just as important to actually have the process and the attempt. And that alone can be massively life-changing.
And not only life-changing, but really fun. It's really fun for us to go back and look at where we were and where we are now and the steps that it took to get here and just to think about all of those things that really are important to us and the way that we grew through it and how much more valuable that is than whatever pain or whatever discomfort or uncertainty that we might have gone through in those moments of trying to create that. Looking back and seeing that it was totally worth it and that we would do it over and over and over again to get those results and that growth that we truly love and wanted all along.
And just to kind of give you a little bit about our experience is that we've had, years ago, people that were very close to us and even ourselves that we were unaware of were really stuck in patterns that didn't really serve us, that made us unhappy, being frustrated, getting angry, having struggles that actually went pretty deep. But we're unaware of the depth, right? Yeah. We just aren't that happy in life. Maybe I probably would have thought I was pretty happy, but there were people very close to me who who didn't feel very happy. As a matter of fact, we're quite the opposite. And ideations of suicide and not wanting to be alive and those kind of things were commonplace. And so that really drove me to research and to learn. And I discovered a handful of things that have been really valuable to help people shift and change. And after seeing some major shifts and changes, I couldn't help but share that with the world, because I started to realize how much pain and suffering is going on out there, that there is a way, neuroscience and psychology and the combination of those two, and a system that we've put together that we call the Neuro Auto-Associative Programming system, or the NAAP system, can free them from that. It can free them and help them get out of that place where they're miserable, where they're suffering and in pain so much of their time.
And not just those people that feel like they're really suffering or they're really in pain or going through these huge mental struggles, but everyone. I mean, before we were learning this, after we realized that there was so much inside of us, like we thought we were like, oh, just like the normal person that doesn't have the huge struggles or whatever, but we really do. That we're kind of all on the same level of working through things and figuring things out, and that we all have that pain and that suffering that really leads us to figuring those things out and becoming better and improving. And we thought we were just like perfect and great and whatever, but really we have a lot of stuff that we are working through and going through, and we're having breakthroughs every single day and getting through those things. And it's not just those people that maybe are really extreme, but that everyone can benefit from this.
Yeah, and anyone who's struggling to achieve more or experience more or have a more fulfilled life, and wants just more happiness and more joy and to share it with more people. This tool is ultimately how to get you there. And this podcast and these messages that we're putting out are to give people hope, to help them see that there's something new out there that's quite different than anything else. I have literally spent thousands and thousands of hours in research about what so many methods are, and the key to what is going on out there that is not helping us is that the focus is on the symptoms of our problems. The focus is on the symptoms of our mental struggles. We're not discovering, generally speaking, in mainstream society and in lots of, whether it's therapies, counseling, all kinds of different therapies, and therapists that counsel, couples or families or parents or whatever, and all the way to the ones that are doing, giving medications and everything. The whole focus of all of those things are not getting to the core. The core is much deeper, and when you get to the core, you can change everything. You can change everything in life. And that's what people tell us when they've gone through a session. I say, what does this change for you? And they say, everything. There's nothing this doesn't change in my life. And think of how fun that is for us to provide that for other people. And to have my daughter here helping me do this and see the progress and the strength and what she has to offer people, and being able to pass that on is phenomenal. It is so fun.
It is. It is such a blast. And just being able to help others see that there's an alternative, that when they're on that brink of not having any more hope, or feeling like they've tried everything, they've done this therapy and that, and they've done this diet and all these things, and nothing seems to be helping in that significant of a way, and being able to show that and provide the idea or those new concepts or perceptions for those people is
and
so
what the coolest thing is how this is the core of mental struggle. This is the core. So getting to the core helps every version of mental struggles there is. All of them. Whether you're trying to work on your health or have a better diet or change the way you treat people, or you have anger issues, or any of those things. You're struggling at work to have, or deciding on a career, or wondering about your career path and what you should do. And
or even going as simple as just deciding what you're going to eat, or what time you're going to get up in the morning.
Yeah. Or what all the messages your brain is sending you, if they're real or if they're effective, or if you're, trying to understand your effectiveness in life. It all goes to this core, this core concept that we go straight to in the model is everything, changes everything. And it's so fascinating and it's so fun that we're excited to share a couple of our recent breakthroughs with you that are, years down the path of doing this. You still have breakthroughs. You still find places where you just aren't at the level of joy and happiness that you could have.
And that's what really excites us to work through the model every single day, of seeing the fulfillment and the enjoyment and the fun that we get out of having breakthroughs and discovering new ideas and new concepts and new ways of seeing things that help us really get what we want, that serve us. And every morning we wake up and we go through these breakthroughs and we walk each other through that process, walk each other through the model of whatever it is that may be bothering us, or maybe if we just were confused, or like anything that's just going on in our personal lives, really, because that is what we do. We analyze and we help each other through it. And so being able to do that every day is a lifestyle of enjoyment in a whole new way of life. Instead of just seeing maybe how the world can make us happy, or how whatever's going on in our life, when we react to that, what that does to us, it's like all of a sudden we are creating that experience without anything else around us. And it's just us just talking and using linguistics and working through this process, going through this model, and how fun that is. And we do that every day. And so we want to share it with you. We want to share that experience with you because of the impact that it has on our lives and how fun and exciting and fulfilling it is.
Yes. And so there's a concept here that we want to share that is very key, and you're probably partially experiencing something right now as a pattern in your brain that probably doesn't serve you well, that doesn't help you. And it's the idea that as you hear us speak, you're thinking, well, I've heard this before. I've heard people talk about, mindset and shifting and getting over these limiting ways of thinking or thoughts or different things like that. And here's one of the things that we have really discovered is incredibly powerful for us. And we hope it's powerful for you to take in and understand. Because when we do that, when you think, oh, this is something I've done before, this is something I've experienced before, or maybe you read a really good book that has all this great self-help stuff in it, or a way to change your diet, and then a part of you says, well, you've tried this before.
Or, oh, I've read that book thousands of times, so reading it again, that's not really gonna...
Yeah, or I've even read it once, right? And why review it again when I've already read it and it didn't change me, right? And we're here to present that this is something that is really different. That doesn't mean it doesn't have similarities to other things that you've seen, other things that you've heard, right? There could be some similarities there.
Or really that maybe that first time that you read that book, you were in a totally different place in your head, a totally different place in your life. And maybe some of those concepts and those ideas in that book, you were like, oh, that doesn't really apply to me right now. But later you go back and you read that same book, but you're a completely different person. You've had all these kinds of different experiences and perceptions and things going on in your life that when you read that same thing that you read previously, it's completely different. And you're like, what? I swear I read this book before, but this is something totally new that I never thought about. But it's the same book.
So we want to teach you a phrase to help you get out of old patterns that keep you back. You ready for this one? It's changed our lives. It's changed our whole progress in our business and how to help people and everything. And it's this simple phrase. And it's different. Mikkel loves this phrase.
I love that. I love it.
And I do too. She came up with it and it changed everything for us. It's different. It's different. There is something different. Because what's your next action if you think that it's going to be the same? What are your chances of taking that action? What are your chances of taking a action, a movement forward in the direction you want to go, if you just keep saying, well, that's kind of the same thing I've heard.
I've seen that, done that, been there.
Yeah. So this series, this podcast, and this series of things that we're going to put out, and this model that we're going to give you an opportunity to learn, it's different. I'm telling you, it's different. And you can repeat it over and over, and it can be different every time you repeat it over and over.
It will be different every time.
It will be different. And one of our big concepts that we teach is how powerful it is to have repetition and to recognize that repetition is not the same thing every time.
Because sometimes I'll work through a breakthrough, or I'll see a fear in my life and I'll work through that idea or that fear that I had before. So, okay, I worked through this process, I use the model, and now I don't feel that way anymore about this thing and I'm totally on fire. Later, who knows, a year down the road, I have that same fear come up. And I'm like, I already worked through this. I totally did this huge process in my head and like worked through this fear so that I wouldn't feel that way about that thing anymore. And it felt so great and I felt so empowered and it totally changed my life. But now here I am again and it's that same fear and I'm trying to work through that again.
And so part of you goes into this pattern of like, oh man, it didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
It didn't really work. It's not that valuable. It's not really beneficial. So why should I do it again? Notice that is a thought that keeps you back. That is a repetitive thought that will confine you to your old self.
And so then I realized, being able to see it in a different way, that in that moment, I was so different than what I was before. That I'm a completely different person. And the way that I was thinking about that fear is totally different. It's not the same fear. I was just coming to an oversimplified conclusion and thinking that it was the same, that I already been through that process, that idea is the exact same as it was before. But now it's totally different. And I was just oversimplifying and putting that thing into a box and saying, oh, this is the same, even though it really wasn't. And there's no way that it could be, because the thought process and where I'm at in that place is going to be completely different no matter what.
And we call those generalizations. And our brain does it naturally, and it's okay, it's going to do it. But think about some of these areas of your life where this really doesn't help you, right? Like you spill milk, right? And you've spilled milk before. And so you're like, why would I do that again? I'm spilling milk again. How stupid am I? How ridiculous is this that I would spill milk after spilling milk so many times before? But notice how it makes you feel when you say, but this time it's actually different. There's something different going on for you to learn from you to grow from you to gain from. Now you're spilling milk, but I mean, flat tire, mistakes you make with your family, with your relationships, with your children, with whatever, it's this powerful thing that we can use.
But even notice how you feel when you think that. When you think, wait, no, this is different than before. I'm going through something different in my life right now that I can learn from and grow from. Like, that feels just so much more empowering than you just being like, this is the same, I'm not getting anywhere. It's like, you're just closing the door. There's no more hope. There's no more progression. You're just stopped.
So we want to free you right now from thinking you need to watch our videos. You don't need to come to us, and you don't need us. You don't need to get all this from us. We have what we see as a unique way of discovering and understanding your own brain. But I'm telling you, you can go back to the old books. You can go back to the book you read last year that you really loved and that changed your life. You can go back to the one that you read 20 years ago and read that book, and with this one concept that we just shared, you can have a whole different experience, and it can change your life in a new way. Because you can stop putting it into that bucket of, oh, I know this, oh, I knew that, oh, I understood that. And I don't know if you're a church goer, but you go to church and you hear someone preaching a sermon and you think, oh, I've heard all this stuff before. Like, how much do you get out of it when you do that, right? So we're not trying to trap you into anything we're doing, but we want to give, and we want you to feel it, because that's what lights us up, is being able to share and to give. So we love it for you to come on a path with us, on a journey, and to join our movement. And we've taught a handful of facilitators that are doing it now, and you have the potential of becoming a facilitator, making this maybe a full-time thing for you where you can help other people all day, every day of your life, and get obsessed with it like we are and just love life in that way. Or, you can go find other things that resonate with you. And we're not trying to trap you in. I just want to let you know that every piece that we give is from our heart, that we want it to change you. And that's what we care about. That's all we care about. We're not out here to do some, make money and become rich and wealthy. And we want to change the world. Literally, that's all we care about. And every piece of money that comes to us, that's what we're going to use it for. And yeah, we're going to also have a good life. We're going to, live and have all the fun things in life and do those things. But it's all for a driven purpose right now to help and serve you. And I hope that what we've shared with you has made a difference for you in your life. And I hope that we can start to work together and we can build together as a community.
And if you have any feelings now of wanting to be better, wanting to improve, wanting to take action, just do it. Just do something different today. Do something that lights you up, just makes you excited about life, and go after that.
Yeah, because this is a huge life changer. We get to do these sessions with people, and at the end of the session, we say, how much would you give if I could hit a button right here and erase today out of your head so you didn't have this experience? How much would you pay to keep me from pressing that button. And they almost always say, there's no amount. Every amount of money I could come up with, it's worth more than anything. And I've been in business for over 20 years. I've never had a product before that I could present in a way where someone said I would give anything for it. And now I have that. And you can have it too. So join us. We want to teach people to fly. Our company is Fulfill Life Yourself, and it's about learning to fly on your own, not relying on someone else.
Not relying on us.
Yeah, not coming into the community so you can take it from the community. Come into the community so you can give to the community. And by nature, you will receive. By nature, you will receive from yourself as you give, not from someone else. You don't need it from someone else. Now you will, but by nature, by giving, you will receive immediately.
And think of how that would be in your life if you were the one who was creating your experience. You're the one who learned how to fulfill life yourself, and you didn't have to rely on anyone around you. And that in any moment that you maybe were uncertain about how someone else was feeling or what was going on in the external world or your experience, that you were the one who could be in charge of how you were feeling in that moment. How would that be in your life in everyday life?
And I don't know if you've ever looked up in the sky and you see a flock of geese that are flying. And they're going through and they fly in this V formation. And they fly in that V formation because as the wind gives them lift, that one in the front, that little amount of effort that they use actually adds to the lift of the next person. I'm sorry, the next goose that's flying. And we like to use that as a parallel because we can help each other. We can lift each other. And by just putting out effort, our own effort for ourselves, we help the next person. It's not a selfish thing. We have this nature in us to be service-oriented, to give to other people. And it is so powerful. So we want to help you get that lift. And the other thing I like when I look up and see those beautiful, majestic, massive birds that have this big body and they're flying through the sky and they're doing this formation in nature that helps them lift each other, I think about the perspective that they have from up there and how they can see everything, and we can help each other with that. We can help each other see things clearly, because that's really what we need inside, is up in here. We need to see clearly what's going on, because when we get that clarity, it shifts and changes what our brain does. It breaks our old patterns and puts us in a new place. So we're so glad to have you for just the moment that we've had, and we'd be even more glad to have you in more moments and to be more a part of your life and to help you move and shift and be a part of a community and give to others and start to live a different life.
And truly fulfill life yourself.